How do you do? Everybody talks about politics. This is my blog for today. All they talk about is the fact that politics is a dirty game, a disgusting game, that people are always involved in fights and battles and hassles. Nothing gets done, and they just spend all their time calling each other names. And everybody is right about one side of the story, not both sides. You don't see the Republicans calling anybody names in the Democratic Party. You don't see them lying and trying to scuttle and destroy everything the Democrats want to do with one kind of subterfuge or fraud after another, like the Democrats do to the Republicans. If this is a problem in politics, that it's such a dirty, filthy, disgusting game, it's only because the Democrats alone are the ones doing it. When Bush was president, and people like Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid were calling him all these vulgar, filthy, disgusting names. They called him retarded, an idiot, a moron. You don't see Republicans talking that way about this president. They say he's wrong, and they talk about the issue. They obviously see them resorting to the most filthy, vulgar, ugly names. This is the disgusting party. The Democrats are liars and frauds from top to bottom, from the president all the way up and down. The president told 100 lies from the time he was running for office until now. For his main issue when he was running was that we have to have an end to all this ugly partisanship. We have to work together. We have to work together. As soon as he announced we have to work together, he never spoke to a Republican again. He fought for this legislation on health care behind closed doors, and not only behind closed doors, they not only locked the doors, they locked the building, they closed down the neighborhood. They wanted to make sure no Republican even has a voice in it or hears about it. And he said every piece of legislation will have to have 72 hours of consideration before he asked for a vote on it, and then he suggested the legislation, 2,000 pages, and you're voting on it an hour and a half later. One lie after another. This is the President of the United States we're talking about. Now, you don't hear me calling him ugly, vulgar names. I'm talking about what he did. I'm talking about the issue. And the issue is that the President of the United States keeps lying to, and so does his whole party. Transparency, they kept talking about transparency. Transparency about what? About anything but the legislation that he's fighting for. Take a look at what happened to this whole health care program. This whole health care program, he never once spoke to the Republicans about it for a minute. He didn't see a Republican who could even find one. He acted like it's a one-party government, like Republicans don't exist. Didn't he swear that he's going to be on C-SPAN? 50 times when he was campaigning for office, he kept announcing that C-SPAN, everybody will be able to see every part of the legislation he's trying to create because you'll see it on C-SPAN. All of a sudden, he forgot C-SPAN exists, like a guy who has Alzheimer's, and like his mind stopped working. He's supposed to be a brilliant man. At least he's an intelligent man. At least he knows what's going on. He's not out of his mind, is he? You would have to be out of your mind not to know that you said this about C-SPAN every day that you were campaigning, and somehow not remembering a word you said about it. And all of a sudden there was no C-SPAN, and he never even found out there were Republicans in America. And now when he wanted to, now that the bill sunk and stunk and caved in and nobody wanted to bother with it, all of a sudden he decided that he's going to include the Republicans in a big summit meeting. And the summit meeting is going to be about what? About passing the same legislation that everybody turned down, that everybody doesn't want to hear about, and he's going to have a meeting, and he's trying to sink them into a meeting to try to prove that he's fighting for something that he needs and the country needs. And the Republicans are a party of no. They're a party of no to phony, stupid, idiotic legislation that's going to cost hundreds of billions of dollars and accomplish nothing. It's still going to leave 30 million people without insurance. This national insurance program that's supposed to cover everybody, and the big complaint about it is that right now the insurance system, there's 40 million people uninsured. So we have to spend $2 trillion to leave 30 million people uninsured. So because of 10 million new insured people, we're going to have to spend $20 trillion. Who knows how many trillions? The number is not even imaginable yet. Nobody knows how much it's going to be. All we're doing is climbing up deficits, destroying the country with money problems that we'll never be able to pay for the next 200 years. The jobs are not here. Healthcare is not here. He's not trying to create any legislation that will serve any purpose. All he knows is that he's fighting Republicans. It's the party of no, and he means well for this country. If he means so well for this country, how come he wants legislation that's going to accomplish nothing for a price nobody ever heard of before? Why don't you think that over, Mr. President? Is this a good question? You notice I'm not calling your names. I'm just asking a respectful question.